السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا. اللهم زدنا علما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أصبحنا وأصبح الملك لله والحمد لله، لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. ربي أسألك خير هذا اليوم، خير ما في هذا اليوم وخير ما بعده، ونعوذ بك من شر هذا اليوم وشر ما بعده. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من الكسل وسوء الكبر. ربي نعوذ بك من عذاب في النار وعذاب في القبر. We have reached the morning, and at this time, everything, all sovereignty belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praise is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. None has the right to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, without any partner to Him. To Him belong all sovereignty and praise, and He is over all things capable. Ya Allah, we ask You for the good of this day and the good that follows it, and take refuge in You from the evil of that day and the evil of what follows it. Ya Allah, we take refuge in You from laziness, from inability, from anxiety, from grief, from miserliness. We take refuge in You from the torment of hellfire. Allahumma bika asbahna wa bika nahya wa bika namut wa ilayka an-nushur. Oh Allah, by Your permission we have reached the morning, and by Your permission we live and die, and unto You is our resurrection. Allahumma anta rabbi la ilaha illa ant khalaqtani wa ana abduk wa ana ala ahdika wa wa'dika ma istata'tu. أعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت، أبوء لك بنعمتك علي وأبوء بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. Ya Allah, You are my Lord. None has the right to be worshipped but You. You created me, and I am Your servant, and I abide to Your covenant and promise as best I can. I take refuge in You from the evil of which I have committed. I acknowledge Your favors upon me. I acknowledge my sins, so forgive me. إنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. None can forgive sins except You. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you, bless your families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless and protect our community from any harm. Allahumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our good deeds in this blessed month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our prayers, our du'a, our sujood and ruku' to Him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all the things that we do. Allahumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who will be successful, in this blessed month. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the winners of Ramadan. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us to reach Laylatul Qadr and attain its blessings. Allahumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restore the health of those who are ill. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the distress of anybody who's going through any type of distress. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on those who passed away, and grant them the highest level of Jannah. Allahumma ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us Jannat al-Firdaus, and to be in the company of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam on the Day of Judgment, and to be under his banner. Allahumma ameen. Alhamdulillah. Today's dua is a dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. It's one of the du'as of the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, And the dua is in Surah Al-Shu'ara. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, رب هب لي حكما وألحقني بالصالحين واجعل لي لسان صدق في الآخرين. As we said before, most of the du'as in the Quran are by the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and the Prophet Musa and his followers. So in this dua in Surah Al-Shu'ara, verse 84, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, my Lord, bestow knowledge on me, or give me knowledge, and join me with the righteous. And then he says, وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ, and grant me an honorable mention in later generations. And this is what I want to do my reflection on, that part. Grant me an honorable mention in later generations. He's basically asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cause me to be remembered in a good manner after my death, so that I'll be spoken of and taken as a good example. And Ibrahim alayhi salam definitely left a legacy behind. He was the seed of a long chain of prophets, was called Khalilullah, the friend of Allah in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised him, also praised his personality, praised his character, the good traits that he had in the Quran. Inna Ibrahim la'awwahun halim. Ibrahim was gentle, was full of awe and love and compassion. Inna Ibrahim kana ummah. He was by himself a nation, an entire nation. So he definitely left a great legacy behind. He was called he was called the friend of Allah in the Quran. He built the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to follow no legacy but the legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So yeah, Ibrahim was so special, not only in the Quran but in other scriptures as well. He's so special. You know, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make him, remembered and mentioned in a good way in later generations. And here we are. We're speaking of him and his honorable states with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now the question, if Ibrahim alayhi salam is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a good legacy after he leaves, the question, if we die today, if we were to die today and leave this world today, how will we be remembered? How will we be remembered by our neighbors, by our co-workers, students, spouses and children? Like, what type of impact are we going to leave behind? What type of legacy would you leave? And this is a prophet of Allah, and not just any prophet of Allah, Khalilullah, the friend of Allah. As we said, a chain or a seed of a long chain of prophets praised in the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ was told not to follow any legacy but his legacy, yet with all these amazing things that he did in his life, he's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be remembered in later generations, to be remembered in a good way. So it is very important to be remembered in a good way after we leave this earth. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Imma mustarahun wa imma mustarihun wa imma mustarahun min." When the son of Adam dies, he or she, is either relieved from people or people are relieved from them. Either they are relieved from people or people are relieved from them. So we should ask ourselves, which one of those will we be? You know, will we be missed? You know, will we be missed by our family, by our community, our friends, the people that, the people around us, the people that we love? Because look, one day life will just flash before our own eyes. We're going to live for how long? 60, 70, 80, 90, right? If you don't have an impact on anything or anyone in your life, when you leave, you'll not be remembered. But when you do something, and I'm not talking about being a public figure or you invent something, I'm talking about simple things. How do you want your family, you know, to remember you? Will they miss you? Were you actually a good person who treated everybody with kindness and gentleness? You loved everyone and you showed that love, that your children will miss you so much. You know, one day we're gonna leave this life. One day the life will flash before our own eyes. So make sure it's worth watching. Make sure it's worth watching when you have the time now. Don't wait until the end of your life and say, well, I wish I lived more, or I wish I gave more happiness, to my family. I wish that I knew how precious life was. I wish I didn't give up on my dream so easily. I mean, when we look back on our lives, we will all wonder, you know, did my life mean anything? Was I loved? Did I have an impact on anybody else's life? Did I matter? So before you reach that last breath, today might be the time to make a change. You know, make a change. Make your life matter. One day it will be over. Somebody once said, to live is the rarest thing on earth. To live is the rarest thing on earth because most people exist. That's all. So don't just exist. Don't just exist. Live. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Don't be la takun imma'a." Don't be imma'a. Imma'a means insignificant. Don't be insignificant on earth. Don't just exist. Don't just exist. Don't just exist like anybody else. Live. Live every moment with passion. Don't take anything or anyone for granted. Ask yourself what is important to you. What dreams do you have? What dreams do you have? Don't give up on them. Don't give up on them. You only have one shot, as they say. And if you miss the target, at least you will live with pride and without any regrets. Who do you love? Another question. Tell them now that you love them. You will never know when is your last chance, So don't take life for granted. Live each day as if it may be your last day on earth. It may be. It may be. So think about how to leave a legacy. Change yourself. Think about when you go, how do you want people to remember you? That's really my reflection on this dua. It's a beautiful dua. وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. I don't want to just go. I want when I go, I want an honorable mention. I want people to remember me in a good way, right? In a good manner. I want to be spoken of and taken as a good example. Allah yarhamuh, may Allah have mercy on him. He's a good guy. He was a good person. She was a good woman. She was a good neighbor. She was a good member of the community. That's what you need people to say. Because wallahi, the testimony of people also is a good sign for you. The testimony of people is a good sign that you were a good person. It's a good sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with you. They said, and I'll finish with this, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they said one time he passed by, or there was a janazah, and people were saying good things about the deceased. How great he was, and how charitable he was. And so the Prophet ﷺ said to them, wajabat, wajabat. It became mandatory. And they said, what is it, O Prophet of Allah? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant him Jannah, inshallah. Why? Because of your testimony to that person. Because we cannot all agree on someone who's an evil person, and we cannot all agree that someone is a good person or a bad person. I don't know how to phrase that. If Let me rephrase it actually. If we all agree that somebody is doing good, then this is actually a good sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with this person. If we all agree that this person was a good person, that's a good sign that he was actually a good person, right? So this is it. This is the dua. Write it down. وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ, and grant me an honorable mention in later generations. The dua is in Surah Ash-Shu'ara, and the verse is number 84. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and bless your families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all the good deeds that you do in this blessed month. Allahumma ameen. Have a blessed day, and I will see you tonight, inshallah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.